Welcome to Bumpkin Angling, a project of Boulder Lake Fishing Club, the show that goes deep into the ins and outs of the surprisingly complex world of angling. For better or worse, this show will largely be a discussion between a couple of bona fide bumpkins.
Yeah.
There's me, Big Wave Dave Adams, co-host, soul singer, aspiring fly fisherman.
And the Kentucky Freight Train, also co-host, writer, student of games of leisure.
Bocce,
cornhole.
Yeah.
I mean, but not to worry. You don't always have to suffer through an hour-long BS session between me and Dave. We'll have guests along the line as well, and maybe even take a call or two when we're live in studio.
You can hear the show air on Saturday mornings at 11 on KTWH 99.5 FM or ktwh.org and on your preferred podcast platform. If you like what you hear, you can check us out on the socials at Boulder Lake Fishing Club and support the show by looking for Bumpkin Angling on Patreon.
And this is a project of local radio on the North Shore of Minnesota, so if you like what you hear, check us out on the socials, like Dave said, or support locally produced grassroots shows like this by going to ktwh.org and clicking on Donate. So, what are we going to get into today, buddy?
Today, we are talking about the pros and cons of fishing with live versus artificial bait.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the eternal question.
Yeah, right? What do I bring along?
So, I don't know. I mean, what do you think of when you think of live bait? I mean, probably crawlers, right?
It's got to be crawlers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I think for the majority of people who fish, that's got to be the first thing that they threw in the water at the end of a line, right? That crawler on a hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worms.
Going
out with, for me, it was going out with Grandpa.
Yeah.
With the coffee can and after a rain.
Yeah.
Or he had one of those big tampers, like, where you tamp down the sand, when you're pouring concrete or something, and you tamp it and that pulls the worms up.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's, I've heard it's mimicking thunder. Maybe.
Oh.
Is that's maybe a theory.
I don't know.
I don't know if this is completely like, here's me pulling something out of, where. And it's not like, I have no idea. But I've heard that, I think, that you can, boom.
It does work.
And it comes up, because when it rains, they come up.
Right.
At any rate.
Yeah.
I think that it's like one of those things where at some point you're too cool to hang out with your parents. You know, it's like you get too cool to use night crawlers anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But really, if we're honest, like we still use night crawlers on the regular.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if we're down on the river, we're jigging for walleyes, we still are using a
for certain things
crawler.
It's got to be a worm on a hook. Like I think about Joby, how'd you catch such and such a fish? Worm on a jig.
That's Joby's go-to.
How about that fish? Worm on a jig.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, how about the 29-inch Walter? Worm on a
Worm
jig.
on a jig.
And,
if it ain't broke, you know.
Every fish eats a worm. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So
my whole thing with crawlers is, you're a lot of times you're getting them where you can, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if where you're listening to this podcast, but here in Minnesota, pretty commonly at gas stations, you can buy night crawlers.
Yeah.
And here it'll be like quick trip. If you see the little sign that says Waltz Crawlers,
yellow
lot,
with the black letters.
Yeah, it's
like
it's clear. You can't miss it.
Sign
It's yellow.
Yeah.
And you can buy a dozen night crawlers in this little fridge they got in the back of Quick Trip.
And they've got the garlic scented too.
Oh,
no,
yeah?
wait, they have the green.
No, the green ones.
The green.
Yeah.
What is it? You pay a certain price, like $4.99 for like it's even like a baker's dozen of crawlers, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
But for extra money,
that extra one,
you get the neon green,
the green ones.
And it's like, I'm always like, hold on, I opened that fridge, I'm like, which ones are there more green stacked up, or
right.
Why would you
What's
pay
working?
more money for fewer crawlers? Because they're green.
Do you know anybody though that goes for the green? Like honestly,
I go for the green.
No, but I mean, like,
I do. I like the green.
do they work better? No,
it's different.
Yeah, it's like I used a red hook.
Yeah.
All right, I can't. That's not even a good example because I love using the red hook. That's another episode. But the whole thing with Waltz crawlers, right, is They're not packed in like torn up newspaper.
No.
Like your higher end Canadian night crawlers, right?
You wish they would be.
The imported night crawlers. They're
Waltz,
packed in this like
we love Waltz. They're out of Michigan.
Yeah, they're out of Michigan.
So they're not Minnesota company.
No, they're not.
So
a
we
Minnesota.
can badmouth them.
Okay. I can badmouth them, but I still buy them, right? I mean, I'm not going to stop
spend half
buying
your
Waltz.
salary on Waltz.
You know,
Half
because
of
I
your-
might need chicken strips.
half of your
and
half of your salary ends up on the floor of my boat.
and some two-stroke oil and a thing of night crawlers. I get one stop.
Yeah, okay,
shop.
okay. So
But the
Waltz,
thing is,
but
like,
you're right. Yeah,
it's packed in this black dirt.
Oh,
this
God.
loam. Right? Am I using that word right? With this black dirt, and this is like the thing I get grief for in the club because in the Boulder Lake Fishing Club.
Yeah.
Because here's the other thing. When I fish and it's raining out, I put on my rain gear, and of course, like I got.
Hold on. Let me picture it.
Yeah.
I'm picturing you putting it on first. Now,
Yes. All right.
now I see you with it on.
Here I am
Okay.
wearing this, and what you got a picture, Shane, are these bright yellow, like Carhartt rain gear.
Proper
because
slickers.
of course
Slickers.
when you buy 4X rain gear, you really want it to be bright, brightest yellow.
Gore-Tex
like
ain't gonna handle it. I don't care what you got from down at Trail Fitters or whatnot, but it ain't handling Waltz crawler juice.
No.
because You need straight up slickers.
They don't breathe. Nothing comes out. Nothing goes in. This is like it's like I'm in a garbage bag, but it's bright yellow, right? It's bright yellow. And what's the thing? So here I'm 300 plus pounds wearing this gigantic bright yellow rain suit, and
fine figure.
And as I'm fishing, I'm covered in Waltz crawler, covered in this Waltz crawler dirt. So I mean that's my claim to fame, and it's all over me. It's all over the boat.
Yep.
God bless the furrows with their pontoon boat. They just tore the carpet out. They
replaced
redid it, but it was just covered in this.
Didn't they put a little plaque for you in the corner where you normally sit?
I'm just lucky they continue to allow me on that.
As we are both.
After the May,
we love you for us. We love you. Job, we're going to get a hold of Joby one of these times.
Yes, we're going to have him on.
Yeah.
We're going to have him on.
Mark, too, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, crawlers are always a thing. I mean, we just can't get away from them. But, of course, the world of live bait does not it may begin with worms, but it doesn't end with worms.
That is the truth.
And so we want to pursue a little bit of that, too. But first, I thought we might get to a special segment here.
Ooh, segment time.
Yeah. So,
bit number one.
I did some research, and we're going to do a thing. And Dave doesn't know about this.
No, the transparency here. I don't know what he's about to say. So you're going to get my
We're going to
genuine
call this
reaction to this.
Name That Angler.
Ooh.
Name That Angler.
All right. Do I get is this like a multiple choice?
Nope.
Or do I have to? Oh my goodness.
This is the demo of the podcast. So
Are these people I know?
Probably.
like personally?
Well, do you know all the people that have ever won the Bassmaster Classic?
Oh, geez, no.
Well, so when Dave and I grew up, let's just go back and forth real quick and see back and forth how many of the famous TV anglers we can name from our childhoods. And I'll start and say Jimmy Houston.
All right. Al Linder.
Bill Dance.
Babe Winkleman.
Oh,
because I'm from Minnesota. I got to say Babe Winkleman.
Jimmy Houston.
Ooh, there you go. Tony Dean.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
Did you ever watch Tony Dean? Was my jam.
Yeah, right. Man. So
up here on Lake Sakakawea. There's my jig and there's my walleye.
So it used to be, back in the 80s when Dave and I were growing up on like Saturday late morning, early afternoon.
Oh yeah.
There'd be fishing shows, and one of these guys or others would be on, and maybe there'd be a tournament going on, like a Bassmaster tournament, or maybe they just have their own production crew out on the boat.
For sure.
And if you go on some of the internet-based video sites, you can see old outtakes. There was one where I think Jimmy Houston forgot to take the boat off the thing.
Was that Bill Dance?
It was Bill Dance.
Bill Dance.
He backs the boat in, and the trailer comes down. There's
still
no
on it.
Yeah. You didn't take the strap off?
You didn't take the strap off? So my thing with fishing shows is that it always hit just right when Dad and it'd be in like February.
Yeah.
When it's like I'd be looking out the window, it'd be 2 feet of snow, and it's like -20.
But meanwhile, down in Central Texas,
I'd turn my tear-streaked face to the Sears the solid state Sears Roebuck television and watch Tony Dean. The new and up and coming Jason Mitchell.
so this is part of our DNA, let's say, angling DNA.
Real?
So anyway, I'm not going to say that the answer to this question is one of the people that we've mentioned, but it's in that.
But you're not going to say it's not.
So let's just say this person won the 1983 Bassmaster Classic on the Ohio River.
Ooh.
And this is kind of cool for me because, I grew up in northern Kentucky fishing where the Licking River hits the Ohio River, right across the river, the Ohio River from the Cincinnati Reds Stadium. So we'd be down there at night drowning a worm or White Castle French fries on a hook, listening to Marty Brenneman on the radio and watching the fireworks go off when Barry Larkin hit a home run and stuff like that. And oh my gosh! But anyway, the Ohio River. So I never knew at that time. This is before I had the means to actually properly fish for bass.
Yeah.
The Bassmaster Classic is happening on the Ohio River.
Yeah, it's right there.
So in '83, I was 10 years old. So who won that one?
Ooh. So it may be one of the ones we.
All right, I'll give you multiple choice.
How about okay?
Yeah.
You give me the multiple choice.
Yeah. So was it Bill Dance?
Ooh, that was going to be my guess, I think.
Was it Larry Nixon?
Okay.
Or was it Jimmy Houston?
I'm going Jimmy Houston.
Larry Nixon won the '83 Bassmaster Classic on the Ohio River. Wherever he is now, Larry, shout out to you,
I
brother.
should have referenced my card collection. Do they have Bassmaster
Oh,
cards?
wow.
They got it, right?
If not, they should.
If that, they should.
They should, yeah.
And they should sponsor us. Can we ask for that? I suppose I can't even say that.
Can we ask for that? Hey, you know what? We're going to be rich.
We're gonna be rich.
You just recorded your first number one. That's a gold record,
That's
boys.
a gold record, kid. And you did it here first.
I thought you were going to bring up a Roland Martin.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Roland Martin.
How could we not mention Roland
That's
Martin?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
This is going to be such a platform for me to do bad impressions of angling superstars.
Right. So, what other kind of live bait,
All right.
Do you think of?
So we really want to dig into this.
Yeah.
Right. We want to talk about this difference between artificial and live bait.
Yeah.
I think we had mentioned earlier about how maybe worms are a little gauche. Is that what like this idea or this little babyish, maybe this idea.
Elementary.
That's there. And I don't, there you go. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, by the way. But, I think that when I think of northern Minnesota and I'm talking about live bait, I'm thinking a lot about, I know that my go-tos are like crappie minnows. I use crappie minnows a lot, winter and summer.
Oh, yeah.
For what they're named for, crappie fishing,
Yeah.
So I'm either putting it on a beetle spin and pulling it behind a boat or on a jig on a dead stick through the ice. Shiners are like my favorite, like a shiner minnow.
Yeah.
Chubs.
Oh, man.
So I guess I'm thinking finned things, but how about what do you think of?
Well, growing up, going up to northern Michigan, I fell in love fishing for northern pike.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was going out on the weed bed in the evening, and you'd get set up right about an hour before what we called the magic hour.
Yeah.
Right when the sun starts to hit the top of the trees and the shade line starts moving across the water.
Right.
Activates the feeding in the fish.
Yep.
And like everybody knows this, and so you got to be set up in your spot, make sure everything is quiet and undisturbed when the magic hour comes. But then you soak your baits. And then it was always a live bait.
Right.
Most people would fish with yellow perch.
Yep.
That they had caught. In Michigan, you're allowed to do this. Perch is considered game fish in Minnesota, so we can't catch one and put it on a hook.
Right.
But in Michigan, you could. And so usually, people who were out there fishing for northerns in the weed beds on the lake I fished would spend their days going out to get a bucket of, 7, 8 8-inch yellow perch.
Yeah, so you'd be fishing for your bait
Yep,
first.
exactly. And so that was the thing. And, it was the whole rig. It was, usually like a slip bobber,
Okay.
with a big, huge slip bobber.
Oh, it
with
was
like,
a slip bobber
Yeah.
on there. See, I'm envisioning that big
red and
plastic
white.
red and white bobber, the ubiquitous.
I know. Well, yes, as maybe a 10-year-old, I started with that. But then,
But
you're
again,
like, yeah, I'm going to
I'm
graduate to
past
the,
that. I
I'm
gotta
past
slip-
it.
all
Nah,
right.
what are you doing with beach ball on the, like, nah. Of course, now guys are fishing with balloons, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
You tie a balloon
Yeah.
on there. And
Yeah.
But anyway, my big innovation when I was a kid when I was probably 12, 13, I started catching more and better fish. It's because I went for chubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it took work to get back in the creeks and the little holes where the big chubs
Right.
were.
Right.
But if you had a bucket of chubs, and my theory was a big northern staring at like an 8-inch yellow perch, and they're all bony and
Yeah.
scaly.
Yeah,
with
they're
that,
sharp, man.
They're
They cut your
sharp.
hands when you grab them.
Like, it can't be too comfortable for a pike to swallow that down.
Right.
But a chub,
Yeah.
he's soft.
Kinda soft.
He's,
I have to
he's-
stop myself from eating one of them.
Have you tried? Let's
Yeah.
bookmark that. Bookmark that. We'll come back.
What happens in the fish house stays in the fish house.
But I mean, they have like a pretty cartilaginous, bony structure,
yeah.
the creek chub, and they get pretty big and fat. So
Yeah.
I busted my hump getting a nice bucket full of chubs.
Heck yeah.
And I take those out and do the big pike. Just we're all over it.
That's awesome.
But so that's what I think of, and yes, in Kentucky with Grandpa, we would definitely go and get a bucket of minnows to
Yep.
go out and fish for crappies in the sticks and stuff like that.
Yep.
But the main thing I think of probably is pike fishing.
Right.
And
I think so. I think there's a couple of things we got to consider here, right? And so far, in your description there, we're thinking of the efficacy
Yeah.
of this, right? You're thinking about what's going to work the best,
Yeah.
right? And so you had to bust your hump to get these creek chubs because they were
They
they
worked.
were the thing,
Yeah.
and they worked,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's what you were thinking about.
Right.
At that point in your life, you're not thinking about, is this sporting? Is
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean? So we got a couple of things that we want to think about, like efficacy. We want to talk about how humane
Right.
this treatment of
Right.
of animals, both the animals are targeting and the animals that we're using, because they're
Yeah.
animals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and you might have a problem with something that can look up at you with these big
Puppy
wet
dog eyes, yeah.
but at the
Oh.
same time, a creek chub is also a living thing. So,
Well,
so thinking about
even
that,
when I was a kid, I mean, I remember, dumping out most of a bucket of minnows.
Yeah.
And just going, admittedly, my first thought was, we gave $3 for that.
that still goes through my mind. I'm like, here we go, just dumping. I used one of them. I just, yeah.
There it's death.
It is.
And so if we think about, well, we want to make sure that the fish that we catch that we're angling for is released safely and humanely, why do we not think that about the bait fish?
Right.
It's another creature that dies.
Right.
So
Right.
it is a real question for me, and I think kind of maybe out of convenience we tend to not grapple with that, or
Right.
just because it's a
Right.
complicated thing to
Right.
grapple with. So,
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's this idea of beyond a certain point, like these aren't sentient
Right.
things. And maybe we're not saying that overtly,
Right.
but like this idea that, and I think that line has obviously shifted
Yeah.
through the course of history.
Yeah.
But we're still at this point where, I mean, we're not thinking about the crappie minnows family,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right,
or their
right,
or their future plans or anything. At the same time, they were made for this purpose, but they are alive,
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things that you have to kind of be okay with,
Yeah.
that it's part of the game. I
part
know
of the
that you
deal
and
you
I
make.
have talked about
Yeah.
this with deer hunting,
Yeah.
and that you try to do the best you can to
Right.
harvest this animal cleanly,
Right.
humanely, quickly.
Yep.
None of us want to see anything suffer. That's not our
But
not
it,
we're
does,
out there
it
for.
doesn't always go that way.
But it
though.
doesn't always go that
Yeah.
way, and that you have to you have to be okay with that.
Right.
And
It's not within your circle of control.
right.
You're not going to control that outcome.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And in my mind, whether it's a deer or it's a crappie minnow, I think the important thing is that you're aware of it and you're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know the price
Mm-hmm.
that goes into this, and I'm not callous to it.
Well, we
You know.
we were. Was it last night when we were out night before last.
2 nights ago, yeah.
We made our last trip out with the Cadillac.
On
Chequamegon Bay, fishing for big smallies, and
man, so magical.
Yeah, you can check it out on Boulder Lake Fishing Club's YouTube. Oh my gosh, pretty cool. But so yeah, we stopped. So part of the thing there, you're allowed 2 lines going out from there, and so you have what's called a dead stick. Basically a minnow.
Ironically, it's called a dead stick
right?
with the live bait.
Exactly, dead because you're not jigging it.
Right.
But and then you have another line in that you're working a lure of some sort.
Yeah.
And it's probably in terms of efficacy. Going back to that, I think it's. The lures are winning narrowly. If I remember, I just watched the video that you made of it.
Oh yeah, I think they are.
So it's pretty narrow.
The video I just released, I won't say who caught what because I don't want to spoil it. If you want to check it out, on Boulder Lakes Fishing Club on YouTube. So anyway, we caught seven bass, and I want to say that it was 4 artificial to 3 dead stick.
Yeah.
Because I think you caught 2 on the dead stick. I caught 1, and then the rest were on various. I mean, like Ned rig, blade bait, your paddle tail, that ghost paddle tail. That's your go-to.
And honestly, even though I think the assumption is that meat catches more fish.
Yep.
More and more you see professional anglers going 100% artificial.
Yeah.
And in some tournaments, that's all that's allowed.
Right.
I don't know the last time I tuned into a Bassmasters tournament or something and they were using live bait.
That's true.
I mean,
are there rules against using it in that? There's got to be something. I mean, we'd have to maybe look into this.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe someday we'll have people writing in to say, "Hey, this is the deal."
Exactly.
But,
people will know.
Yeah.
But anyway, in our experience, I think in terms of efficacy, maybe let's just focus in on the crappies.
Yeah.
Because pretty recently, I was singing the praises of the microplastics.
Yep.
A few years ago.
It's true.
And even when we were out a few times on the ice, but you were so tied into those crappie minnows. I basically
just had 2 dead sticks with crappie minnows down there. That's how I grew up fishing them.
Right. The cultural aspect is big, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what you're used to. And but you're getting close to saying,
Oh, I'm with you. I told you about the time that changed my mind with this. And it was, I think it was probably during COVID, but it was like I had an afternoon in the winter to go out on the ice. It was like it was late winter. It was like spring, March fishing, right? Anyway, so I go out and I'm going to stop by Chalstrom's, the bait store where they know my name. I'm on a first name basis with this bait store.
You pay good money for that.
I do. But they were out of crappie minnows. Like I stopped there. I had this whole afternoon ahead of me, and I have no.
So did Norm. You going to where everybody knows your name. He paid good money for that. So anyway, at Charleston's, they start singing the song. Here comes Dave.
So I go into Chalstrom's, and they have no crappie minnows.
Yeah.
And Uncle Dave is distraught because, like, what am I going to do?
The whole afternoon is wrecked.
It's just whatever. I'm just going to buy a couple. I'm going to buy a handful of these plastics. And go out there, and they were the panfish plastics.
Yeah.
It's got a little. It's a little bug.
Tiny little bead on the tail.
It goes on a little tiny the
32nd ounce.
It goes right on a little jig on the So anyway, I bought a handful. I bought a pack of these things, and I go out there and I drill a hole. I drill 2 holes because I'm going to have my dead stick, and I'm going to be jigging this crappie plastic and I was I'm watching these crappies come in, and they're chasing it. And I was there for like an hour and a half, and I caught 30 crappies. I kept my limit, and I never put a second line down.
Right.
It was just on those plastics, and I had so much fun.
Isn't that cool?
And I think that comes back to like what you're talking about, maybe on the Bassmaster stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's efficacy is one thing, but I think with artificial lures, engagement and control. Like I can control what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it's a little contingent on being able to see the fish.
Yep.
Because I think it would be hard if you didn't have electronics to be able to tell, where those crappies are in the water column, and you're putting the plastic above them to jig them up. And we're going to get into this in a later episode. The technology gap in fishing. But But I think that it's that control. It's like a video game almost, you know.
Remember when I first moved up and you introduced me to ice fishing?
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I really had never, only once in my life maybe, been ice fishing, and before I had a Vexy.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course I'd crappie fished in my life quite a bit,
Yeah.
but never in that way.
Yeah.
Usually it was a stick bobber in the reeds.
In the reeds, yeah.
With a minnow underneath
yeah.
it. You watch the bobber.
Yeah.
But actually enticing them,
Yeah.
you know, to chase,
Yep.
making sure, since crappies have their eyes on top of their heads, they're always
Yeah.
feeding up. Some fish feed down,
Yeah.
you know, and getting them, convincing them it's time to eat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's different. And you can't do that without electronics.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
And it's almost like this dance because you
Yeah.
can like it really is like I can get it to a certain level above them, like a foot above them, and
Yeah.
I can move it at a certain level,
Yeah.
and I can see that line, you know, and it's on a Vexlar, like you said, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a little
Blip.
little
Yep.
blip and another little blip, and I'm watching them. There's my crappie and there's my jig, right? And so yeah, and as I'm jigging, they're starting to, and I could see that little line start to come up, and I can get them to chase, and bam, they hit
Yeah.
it. Oh man. Oh, it's just it gets me excited. Like I want to go ice fishing right now.
Okay, so this.
But you don't do that with a minnow. You don't.
So
do
this
that
is
with a minnow.
really interesting because, well, okay, I'm looking at my script and we have the plug for the next show,
yeah.
but later. But I'll say now we plan to discuss technology and angling
Yes,
in the next episode.
that's yeah.
But just for this, I'll say I had a thought just now hearing you tell that story that I hadn't thought before, which is about engagement with fishing and how fishing with artificials is more engaging.
Yep.
Or tends to be more engaging than fishing with live bait.
Right.
But I think that an exception to that, regardless of whether you're using a minnow or artificial, is ice fishing
Yeah.
and engaging through electronics.
Yep.
Whereas I think the electronics that we use in soft water, for me anyway, makes me less engaged in the fishing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yep.
looking at a screen.
Yep.
You know, and I'd like to read structure and read the water and the wind and this,
Right.
that, and the other. Which,
Right.
But if you're in a shack on the ice,
How are you going to read the structure if you
Right.
don't have that,
Right.
you know, or any of it, you know, if you don't have those
Right.
electronics? But I was thinking about that our trip on Chequamegon
Yeah.
on Saturday. Like I had no electronics in front of me. You
Yeah.
had one that was out of commission
right,
in front of you.
didn't charge the battery.
Didn't you? But we knew the spot, you
Yep.
know, and we anchored and
Yep.
we just casted,
Just casted.
and had the dead stick out.
Yep.
And it was, but you're engaging with the fishing, you're engaging with the environment
Yeah.
a lot more, I think, in that situation than otherwise.
So where are you now? You know, as you sit right now at the end of the, you know, almost at the end of the 2025 softwater season,
Yep.
with efficacy, on the whole of live versus artificial.
Boy, it's classically I've been a person who just likes live bait, right? I'm kind of
Yeah.
that old school guy, but I think that I think I've turned the corner here. I really think that for the most part, I'm fishing with plastics. I think
With
that
some
I'm
big
doing
exceptions, right?
bigger.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you know, if we're soaking a crawler in the river, then we
Yeah.
got to have a crawler that's down there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still jigging for walleyes with, but I've got the Ned rig and I got the paddle tail there
Yep.
rigged up also. Bass fishing, and it never occurs to me to use
Right.
live bait.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I
Right.
targeted bass with live bait.
That's
I was
interesting,
probably a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't think about that. That hasn't crossed my mind. It's just Senkos.
It's not part of your
and-
culture.
Yeah, it isn't.
Yeah,
It isn't.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that like I said, it's a corner that I had to kind of turn. So
Well,
how about you?
I pretty much got away from 75% of my live bait.
Yeah.
And the line that I kind of drew for myself was, if I'm going to go out and catch fish to eat, then I kind of okay with sacrificing another life. I'm already sacrificing one life.
Right.
So I have to
Where do you draw that
you know,
line?
a worm or a minnow fine
Yeah.
to catch, you know, a bunch of bluegill or smallies or crappies or whatever I'm going to go.
Right.
But so that got me more towards artificials, which gave me a chance to really prove to myself that I could catch just about as many fish as
Yep.
I did before, if not more, with artificials. And
Yep.
and you know, you lock into a few presentations that you're comfortable with. Like you mentioned, I've got this 2.5-inch ghost color, like gray and white
Yeah.
paddle tail. and everything eats it. It's like a minnow, and I'm just engaged with it. It's just kind of fun.
Yep. But it's like the crappie plastics for me. You have to get some success with it.
Yep.
Before it's like, oh
Exactly.
yeah, now this is my thing. You know, I wouldn't have thrown a blade bait.
Just like the Schwamigan video.
I'll try this blade bait. See if
And
I can
boom.
lose this thing. And it was like the second
pounded
cast,
a
bam!
4-pounder.
I hit, I was like, oh, all right, I'm in. Now I can use blade baits. So, you ready for another bit?
First, I just want to remind people that who are listening on the radio, that's local community-powered radio on the North Shore of Minnesota, or maybe you're listening to the live stream on ktwh.org or 99.5 FM on the radio dial, old-fashioned. So, but yeah, you got. What do you got for me?
Well, I thought that I would, I don't know what we could call this segment, like ripped from the headlines, lip ripped from the headlines. Man, I'm just workshopping. I'm workshopping some things.
Lip rip. Okay, let's just say, what is it? IFKYK? If you know, you know. So if
I had to stop.
If
that's
the
what
thing.
Are we talking about?
If Joby, all right. Listen, Big Wave Dave. What's the Insta handle and the TikTok?
It would have been at Boulder Lake Fishing Club.
Okay, so Dave's hilarious. He's got these great videos. He's a natural comedian. And but anyway, one video we haven't done yet, which he's going to need help to do, is you got to see. Okay, monofilament line stretches.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things about it. That's why none of my rods have mono on them anymore. I can't stand that.
Braided line does not stretch. You love it because it's got sensitivity and everything. But if the distance back in 1995, when you were throwing a plastic 5-inch Cinco into the lily pads, and a bass eats that, and you reel till it's taut, and you wind up, and then you give a jerk, that mono stretches between you and a 4-pound bass, but with the and so these fish are flying through the air. If their lips hold out, when Dave goes, you can see his whole body contracting. It's the spring. There's like physics. There's rules that define the action that's happening here. People have done experiments. He reels down on that fish. He's gonna fly out of the boat. So this is back to the video. I'm like, dude, just give me your camera so I can just film this thing happening.
Me going out the back of the boat.
I want to see him tumbling.
What I want to see is like everybody that fishes with me understands this.
Yeah.
And so they could see me loading up. You know, he's got something's
on,
something's happening, and Dave's winding up. Here we go, and then just wham. But as I'm winding up, all my friends are like, they're grabbing the gutter. You know, like everybody's bracing for the storm. Nobody fall out of the boat. Dave's about to set the hook.
We fish out of small boats.
We do fish out of small boats.
So I'm just saying
that could be another podcast episode or another radio show.
But I digress. So
here we go. So this is this is from Outdoor News from today, Monday, November 3rd, 2025. Breaking news for sportsmen since 1968. And the headline is, this is actually from August 19th, but this is reproduced. This is by Sean Sitar, fisheries research biologist, and this is from August 19th, 2025.
Yeah.
The headline is researchers discover. And I'm not going to say the age because I want you to guess. Researchers discover blank-year-old Mary Catherine, the oldest known lake trout in the Great Lakes.
What?
So this is from August. The oldest lake trout yet discovered in Lake Superior is known as Mary Catherine. The fish was captured by researchers at Klondike Reef in 2023, but they've just recently aged this fish.
Mary Catherine. How old is she?
Well, that's what I'm asking you to. So I started reading this, and I don't know if I didn't read the headline well enough because it's right there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I couldn't imagine. And I think my guess was way off, but I want to know what you think.
Well, I'm trying to think, first of all, when was the last time people named anything or anybody Mary Catherine?
That is such a good that you are on the right track.
So I'm like, well,
you are on the right track.
That's got to be the pre-war, right? Like, so I'm trying not to think how old can a lake trout possibly be? But
I couldn't even answer that question. I'm not even sure.
Mary Catherine, I'm going to say, was definitely before the 60s. Okay, I'm going to go down. I'm going to say that fish was born in 1939. I'm going to say that fish is, what would that put him? Old.
Yeah. So you're too far. You're too far back.
But I'm on the right track.
But you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Mary Catherine was 62 years old.
Wow.
Here's the thing about Mary Catherine is that let me see if I can get to the right part in the article here. I'm jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
But age can be measured in fish with multiple body structures such as spines.
Wow.
For lake trout, the otolith or ear stone is the most reliable indicator of age. The otolith is in the inner ear. Humans have them too. And as the fish grows, so does the otolith. The growth leaves rings each winter similar to tree rings, which then can be counted to estimate the fish's age. So this fish was hatched in 1961, and they say in parentheses here, Mary was one of the most common names for human babies born that year. So I'm like, I can't believe Shane just picked up on that.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so the fish was female, weighed 4.62 pounds, and was 24.78 inches in length.
At that time.
These stats aren't remarkable. The longest collected by the Marquette Fisheries Research Station was 53.1 inches, which is huge. And the heaviest collected was 35.5 pounds.
Marquette.
The state record for Michigan is 61.5 pounds. But Mary Catherine was not a big. She was smaller than the one I caught on caribou. I caught a 26.5 incher on caribou earlier this year. Bumpkin Angling.
We brought it in, yeah.
Yeah.
Just think of a trout coming up through clear water that's like twice the size.
But now I'm thinking, like, how old was that trout? I mean, I'm sure they weren't stocking that lake. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know.
It's
wow. You talk about like humane.
I'm glad to hear that these fish, they're important creatures to our world.
Yeah.
And they've been fighting to get along.
Yep.
Boy, this is a thing that I've kind of had in mind too ever since I started fishing. Is this okay for these fish?
Right. Right.
Like here's a fish that's think of the sturgeon.
Yep.
In the St. Louis, and how that population was absolutely decimated by the pollution from the paper industry in the river. And folks have been working hard to bring that back.
Right.
But the fish that we're catching now are probably 30 or 40 years old,
right.
Even what we think of as a juvenile sturgeon.
Yeah.
And are they hurt? And so I remember as a kid, even before the internet and stuff, going to the library and learning about pain receptors in the mouths of fish. And if you hook a fish cleanly, in the lip or in the mouth, they probably don't feel much pain. Now, I'm not going to say it's their best day ever.
Right.
Getting caught and pulled out of their environment.
It's a stressful situation.
But if you don't overplay them, you get them in quick.
Yeah.
And release them.
Yep.
I'd like to think we're not hurting fish that much.
Right,
so
right.
so that's what I tell myself anyway when I think about going fishing for Mary Catherine.
Right.
Yeah.
That this fish has been around since before Kennedy was shot. I mean, who thinks about that with a lake trout? I mean, I think about that with sturgeon, like you said, but I not with a lake trout. But it's a good idea. It's a good thing to bring you back to like
it's pretty cool.
What is this experience for a fish?
That is pretty cool, yeah.
And I think, like you were saying, a good hook set, and that comes back to our artificial versus live bait.
Yeah.
Because, with artificial, you're less likely, I think, to foul hook a fish.
Or gut hook them.
Hook them, right? Because they're not going to swallow that necessarily in the same way that they would if they're just sitting there and chewing on a nightcrawler.
So I tell you what, let's do a little bit more on that, the business of that part of the ethics of live bait fishing.
Sure.
But after we have another little bit here.
Another bit.
This is where we thank our sponsors. Hold on, who's sponsoring us? Me. Yeah.
Me.
Okay, that's
my mom.
All right. So when Dave and I were talking about bits and what we were going to do and stuff like that, I gave him a softball question. which was like what fish can click to warn off
I mean, what do you think I am?
predators. Like, well, of course that's
This
a channel.
this is my
click,
life.
click, click, click.
This is all I think
Well,
about.
they're clicking when you pull them up, so it's like,
There.
of course it's a channel. Click, 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 croak, croak, croak. Isn't he cute?
Aw.
But no,
Little
so we're gonna
whiskers.
also expand the zone here. So this is not
Are you
necessarily.
throwing me some curveballs now?
It's not necessarily a soft water fish.
Okay.
As in not
What?
a non-ice soft, as in without salt.
Oh, not a freshwater.
Not a freshwater
Yeah,
fish.
right,
Thank you.
right.
Thank you. So this fish produces or is capable of producing enormous quantities of a slimy mucus when they feel threatened.
Enormous quantities of a slimy mucus when they feel threatened.
Okay,
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I feel like the way you led up to this,
Oh, yeah.
that this is gonna be a saltwater fish.
All right. I got clues too. So if you
Ooh, all right.
Don't answer.
All right. I also don't. I don't see
Get
this
an
being
answer
like
in
a
mind,
big-
don't
I
give
don't
it.
see like this being a big open ocean. Oh.
All right. Well,
Oh, come on! Look at you, inscrutable. Yeah, there he is.
All right.
I used a
right.
red hook though, so
clue-
that's okay.
clue
The whole
number.
time it's been a red hook.
Clue number one. Clue number one. I love red hooks.
I know.
I love
I
red
know.
hooks. It's a little blood coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, it's perfect. Okay, you lose an artificial bait, but a red hook is like it's bleeding, baby.
I'm on board. I'm giving you grief, but I'm
Okay.
on board.
Okay, the name. So there was a band that originated in Sherman, Texas,
Okay.
that also shares that took their name from the name of this fish. So that's clue number one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go on with the clues, and when you know it, just
How
shout
specific is this?
it out.
So I'm thinking eels.
Uh,
Electric eel? No, electric eel would have the electricity.
okay, it's not an eel.
It's not an eel.
It's not an eel.
All right.
Okay, but it is an eel-shaped jawless fish. It's eel.
Lamprey.
They're known as the only living. Okay, get this. These fish are known as the only living animal that have a skull,
What?
but no vertebral column.
A skull, but no
Although
vertebral
they
column?
do have rudimentary vertebra.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Huh. So it's like vestigial vertebra?
I don't understand what you just said, but yes.
But I mean, it's like they're not connected. They're not in a column, but they're there. Like there are pieces of what maybe was a like a backbone at some point.
All right, so
I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm digressing. This is not getting me any closer to this answer.
This whole podcast is a digression. I thought we were talking about fishing.
If we digress enough, we'll just get back to the point, right? Hey, here we found
Okay.
ourselves back talking about live bait.
Although their exact relationship to the only other living group of jawless fish,
Okay.
which is the lampreys,
Okay. So, I was on the right track.
it was
then.
long the subject of controversy. The genetic evidence suggests that, and I'm quoting directly from Wikipedia here,
Okay. Yep.
that these fish and lampreys are more closely related to each other than to jawed vertebrates, thus forming the superclass Cyclostomi. The oldest known stem group are known from the late Carboniferous.
Carboniferous. Yeah.
Around 310 million years ago.
Yeah. So about the time I was in elementary school.
No, I think your dad was in elementary school.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. My dates mixed up.
So anyway,
So it's not lampreys, but it's part of the super group of
so
lampreys.
I know
No.
you've never heard of this before.
Oh, see, this is you got one I've never
Well,
heard of before.
you know.
Maybe. Okay, we're learning though. This is a learning.
Hagfish.
Hagfish. I have heard of that.
Have
before.
you?
I have for sure.
Copious amounts
They're
of
beautiful.
mucus. Do they eat worms?
They call it the hagfish.
We're gonna go into
Copious amounts of mucus.
like southern Atlantic. You're gonna have to drop a worm down on a jig about 365 feet, and then bam,
Bam. Bam. Did you see a Waltz crawler? Down 330.
I can see me and you in your orange yellow slicker
Yeah, oh
out in
yeah.
the Cadillac
Oh,
on the
yeah.
Atlantic. What were they saying?
Yeah.
Light to variable.
It doesn't want. It wants to stall when I try to open her up, but it's okay. We're only 35 miles from shore.
Why do people not? Why remind me why hagfish isn't considered a game fish around here? These are beautiful creatures. Anyway,
I've had some fishing trips where I had to wash off copious amounts.
So
of
now
mucus,
you can't say you didn't know. That's the hagfish.
I want to see this.
Not
thing,
to be
you don't have
confused
a
with
picture.
haggis.
You don't have a picture with you, do you?
No, but
if you're listening and you have a phone, Google the hagfish.
Hagfish, yeah.
And then
And
email,
the band,
email
too.
me a description.
In the band.
Oh, were they good? Have you listened to them? So it's not just a clever name. Did they have copious amounts of mucus?
I think maybe they were trying to name themselves haggis,
Oh,
and maybe
I
it got
see,
printed in the
hagfish.
paper as hagfish.
Yeah, and you just roll with it.
You can just go with it.
I
yeah.
get it.
They got ink, so
All right, so I think we've got time
Yeah.
to do a little bit more about our live bait and
Yeah, we got
artificial here.
we
What
got
do you
about
say? What do we got
12 more
left?
minutes.
We got 12 more minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
we can cover so much ground in 12 minutes, Shane. It's going to be great. So we talked about efficacy. We've talked about the humane treatment of animals. Can we talk a little bit about environmental
Yeah.
impact?
Yeah.
Where I think this is something that came to mind when we were talking about the humane treatment of animals in your choice of, how that factors into your choice of live or artificial baits. We want to say that it's more humane to use artificial baits because you're not gonna gut hook them, you're not gonna kill them that way. But the thing that always goes through my mind, and I fish Senkos a lot, and that might be an understatement. I always have to have my Senko. I got a couple, even when I don't have the Senko right. I got a couple of Senkos tucked into a secret compartment in my bag. I got a couple in my wallet just in case, But anyway, there are times when you're fishing with a Senko, and then you reel back just a hook, and that Senko's gone. And when you think about I've left this 5.5-inch piece of rubbery plastic that's just out there in the environment now, and it might be just at the bottom of the lake. It might be inside a fish, and they're not gonna digest that. It's just gonna sit there. Right?
This is the biggest thing, man. This is the biggest knock against artificials.
Yeah, for real.
It's not just a 5-inch piece of Senko plastic, but oh my gosh, how many lures have we lost?
Hooks.
And line and hooks and jigs.
Lead, just a bunch of lead, which is going to be another podcast we got to do at some point.
So
the
yeah,
impact
we're
of
gonna
lead on the environment and
this business about lead and fishing equipment is a big deal, and we're gonna definitely address that.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of lead jigs, and it's not just jigs that contain lead. All sorts of spinner baits and various other things like the blade baits that we were throwing. Those have a lead head on them.
Yep.
And but yeah, boy, this is. If I have active guilt in fishing, it's the amount of stuff that I leave in the lakes.
Yep.
I'm always trying to pick up trash and stuff when I go places. We do that when we go down to the river or whatever. And if ever I see a bunch of line, I love to fish below spillways that are popular places to fish. And guys are always leaving stuff down there.
Just piles of stuff.
And in my mind, what I'm thinking is, well, maybe I'm evening the score here.
Right.
Or
maybe leaving it a little better than a little better than even.
How many
you can hope for?
How many lures did we lose just in Schwamigan other day?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I had to have been almost the double digits of Ned rigs that I left.
It's
out
really
there in that
upsetting
rock
thinking
pile.
about
it. It is though. But I mean, again, it's something that you should have to tackle. You should have to think about that. You know what I mean? Like you should.
And meanwhile, we had these dead sticks out.
Yeah.
You start the day with one, you end the day with the same rig. You didn't lose any equipment on those dead sticks.
Yep.
So, yes, you killed a bunch of minnows.
Right.
Sucker minnows in our case.
Yep.
But you didn't leave any crap in the lake.
We didn't leave any lead out there. We didn't leave any plastic out there.
So that's just kind of like a balance point you're going to have to strike, isn't it? In your own mind.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Or find ways to minimize this thing. I know that we've talked about, or you and I have talked about, not on the radio show, but you and I in our personal conversations have talked about like alternatives to lead.
Yep.
And things that there are things that they have out there that you can use that aren't lead.
Yeah.
so that's one thing. Trying not to use lead, which is we're going to have to talk about that in the episode about using lead.
Yeah.
The barriers to not using lead, and why people still use lead lures. When I think it's pretty clear that it's not great for the environment to put a bunch of lead out there. At any rate, so that's one thing. Trying to find ways to reduce the lead,
and also. So I was just watching that video you put together of the smallmouth competition we had on Schwamigan.
Yeah.
And I was talking about when I learned about how to fish with these blade baits.
Yeah.
And the technique is to let them settle all the way to the bottom and to rip them up off the bottom and let it flutter back down.
Yeah.
And you're mimicking an injured bait fish. It's got a big presence in the water column. It attracts fish in.
Right.
That's one thing if you're fishing on a sandy river bottom like I was doing in St. Louis early in the season, catching walleye with the blade bait.
Right.
But when you're out in a lake with a rocky bottom and you let that settle down,
like Schwamigan Bay, where it's just a rock pile.
Chances are pretty good that if you let it settle all the way down, you're going to get snagged.
Yep.
So for me, even when we're out there fishing, what I'm doing is I'm willing to fish in a way that's probably not quite as effective.
Right.
I'm not going to let the bait go all the way down.
Right. Trying to keep it up off.
I'm going to figure out that this is probably a 10 count to get to the bottom. I'm going to let it get to a 8 or 9 count.
Yep.
And then rip it.
Yep.
So that I'm kind of trying to move it above the rocks.
Right. Right.
And it's maybe not going to catch as many fish, but if I can lose fewer rigs, I'll do that.
Yep. Minimizing that impact.
So that's kind of my trade.
And you told me the same thing with Ned rigs.
Yeah.
Because you're casting on a Ned rig and rather than letting it just settle onto the bottom like you would a Senko, you're keeping tension on that line and kind of keeping it moving over the top of things, which is challenging because when we were having success with the Ned rigs last Saturday, it was as slow as you could. Count to 10, pop it. Count to 10, pop it. But trying to keep tension on it so it's not settling into those rocks and then getting lost.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think another thing that I wonder about is the plastics. How do we keep and one thing I've watched on I know Jay Siemens has talked about this in his videos.
Yeah.
Trying to go through fewer paddle tails, losing fewer of these things, and he brings a super glue.
Yeah.
And just puts a little dab on the shank of the hook below the jig head or whatever you're fishing, and then slides that lure on there, and it holds that in place and kind of keeps it from coming off. And he's talking a lot about presentation there, where it's not pulling your pants down. You're not getting pulled down.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's also, I think, keeping you from losing these plastics. And maybe with paddle tails, that's not as much of a problem. But I think about Senkos, I could probably do the same thing on that.
Well, you don't tend to wacky rig the Senko, but I know a lot of people do. That's a popular thing where you hook the bait in the middle of the 5. So a Senko is a 5-inch plastic worm.
Yeah.
It's nice because it's got some heft to it. It sinks at a nice rate.
Yeah.
So it's
you can cast it.
Yeah.
Sinks slow. It's kind of neutrally buoyant.
So typically you do a Texas rig where you'd a weedless rig through the.
That's my jam.
And
it's got a nice.
But anyway, I watch a guy called ND Yak Angler on YouTube, North Dakota Yak Angler. I love him. He's so good. One of the best YouTube fishing video guys. But anyway, he takes the time to put a little piece of shrink wrap. So he gets this plastic tube that has a very, very slightly bigger diameter than the Senko.
Yeah.
And he'll put it on there in maybe a 1/4-inch segment right in the middle of the worm. He fishes wacky rig.
Sure.
So it's a lot of advanced prep.
Right.
But then what you have is, just imagine a thin PVC tube around the worm, and you're not just hooking that hook then through the soft body of the worm.
But you've got this kind of
tougher
skin.
They do not come off.
Yeah.
They do not come off.
That's amazing.
So maybe if a fish grabs hold of half of it and absolutely will not let go, you might rip off half the worm. But and so for him,
I like that.
And so it's man, I just think, what a great activity come March next year.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick the colors of worms I'm going to fish with and just do that and have them ready.
But I wonder if there's got to be an equivalent thing you could do with a Texas rig.
Yeah.
Where it goes, just at the head of the worm, or maybe where the hook goes back into the worm.
Exactly.
Doing that same thing. I mean, obviously you want that tip of the hook to be out.
But having something like that in mind is you're trying to find, for me, like as we get to like kind of like takeaways from our discussion, that it's a trade-off we make when we go fishing, right? Like, we're not mostly fishing for sustenance. Sometimes we are.
Sometimes we are.
But usually we have money in our pocket to go to the grocery store if we have to.
Yep.
So, usually this is a voluntary activity we're doing for fun.
Absolutely.
And so given that, like, what's our cutoff for the sort of the trade we're willing to make, with the trace that we leave in the environment.
Right.
And we have to find that for ourselves, don't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big question. It's a bigger question than you'd think, I think you said it right here in the introduction. Well, I said it, but you wrote it down. The surprisingly complex world of angling. I think that's there's a lot of ins and outs.
It is. And so before we go, I just wanted to let you know real quick. We got a couple of minutes here. So this was something that came across my feed, Dave. You're going to love this.
Yes.
So the recent Bassmaster tournament actually happened in Wisconsin.
Okay.
On the Mississippi River. So, this is a
This
tour.
isn't a Bassmaster.
It is. It's
okay.
a Bassmaster tournament.
Okay.
So this guy, the guy from Iowa who won this is on the lower Mississippi River.
Yeah.
He won it. The fish that clinched it was a 7-pound, 15-ounce smallmouth that he caught.
Ooh.
And it was determined. And so this was the fish that put him over in his bag
This is
limit.
on the river, right?
Yeah, on the river.
Okay.
And he said, I didn't think they grew them this big on the Mississippi. Normally, smallmouths, like that, you got to go to the Great Lakes or like in upstate New York.
Yeah,
exactly. So get this.
Oh, man.
It's the same fish that the guy who won the tournament a couple years back caught.
You are kidding me.
And this fish, let me see if I can.
How big was it when he caught it before?
So I looked for that exact information, and they didn't say.
Oh,
but
are you kidding me?
I think in 1 year. Okay, let's just see.
What kind of reporting is this?
The Wisconsin BASS Bass Nation president Jeremiah Shaver this is on Bassmaster.com, by the way, posted about the odd circumstances after talking to both anglers. Seeing Miller's catch, he called Goody, this Goode, maybe it's Good, to ask if he'd seen it. Good, who had compared photos, told him it was the 7-2 fish, 7 pounds 2 ounces of fish he weighed in a tournament last October.
Oh, so his was 7 pounds 2 ounces. It gained 13 ounces.
Oh, it must be 7.2. Must be.
Oh, 7.2.
He's 7.2. What does that mean? I don't know.
So
7.2
7.2 would be like a fifth of.
So here's the thing: they're fishing on these pools that are separated by locks in the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And so anglers have a choice of where they're going to be fishing, which pool they're going to fish in.
Yeah.
And this fish had to migrate. So here's his quote. He released that fish during an end-of-year event up on Pool 7.
Yeah.
It found its way back to Pool 8 about 12 miles away.
That's crazy.
And here's the thing. He caught the fish in the exact same place.
Oh, yeah.
As the other guy caught it to the day a year before.
You're kidding me.
How about that?
To the day.
To the day. 12 miles away on the river.
Oh, my gosh.
How about that?
That's crazy.
So I was looking for, like you, I'm like, well, how much did it grow in a year? Because up here, the bass grow so slowly.
So slowly.
And you catch a 5-pounder, it might be almost 20, and you're like, when's he going to get to 20?
Right. Right.
But anyway, they didn't say. But isn't that something?
Oof.
And it just kind of enhances, kind of like some of the other stuff we were talking about, my respect for the intricacy and of that environment that we're engaging with as anglers. You know. So
and these animals that we're interacting with.
Yeah,
and
it has a real life.
Especially bass kind of get this like bad rap as like this kind of whatever cast off fish, but I mean. That's incredible.
Yeah, dude. So
incredible.
So, any other takeaways you've got from?
Well, I think that I think that I'm going to continue to. I think that a good point that we had was the engagement factor.
Yeah.
When it comes to the live bait versus artificial. The efficacy is one thing if you're just out there to trying to catch meat and put meat in the freezer, maybe live bait. But I think that engagement, that would be my top takeaway. Like, why do I want to do this? I want to engage with my environment, and the best way to do that is artificial lures, in my opinion.
and also for me, it's like there is no hard line for me in the sand ethically on this. Like we have to find our own answer,
Right.
And we make our own judgments on it. But for me, I respect people who I meet who just weigh this stuff.
Yep.
When I see someone, who's just like, yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Who gives a crap?
Yeah.
It's
It's just not automatic behavior,
Yep.
So yeah, great convo, and just remind us one more time where we can find this and what's coming up next.
All right, so we if you like what you hear, you can find us on the socials, right?
Yeah.
At Boulder Lake Fishing Club, all the different socials, and you can find us wherever you find your podcasts,
Yep.
Or on Patreon.
Yep, and ktwh.org.
Bumpkin Angling. Let's
Yep.
make sure we say
Yep.
that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name
Yep, that's
of
right.
this radio show.
We're bumpkins.
Bumpkin Angling. And next time, we're going to talk about
technology.
This technology,
Yeah.
and there is kind of a technology gap.
Yeah.
And I think that we're pretty firmly on one side of that gap, but
Yeah.
I could be maybe not as firmly as I think.
Well, we don't have the money to be on a certain side of it.
That's also part of it. That's
but-
also part of it.
Yeah,
but,
technology has always played a part of like everybody's for thousands of years wanted to make a fish hook that works better.
well, and that's the thing. What is technology? Like, what
right.
is technology? So, if they're not finding us on a podcast, where would you listen to this show,
Yeah.
Shane?
Well, maybe you're listening live at 99.5 FM on KTWH on Saturday mornings at 11, or maybe you're finding it on ktwh.org on our live stream or on archive shows link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
A lot of fun, man.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Let's do it
Okay.
again.
All right,
What do you
see-
say? Let's keep doing this.
See you next time. Cue the
ya.
music.
Yeah.